Hi, it's Wendy Capewell, your relationship specialist. And in this episode, I'm going to talk about the basic ingredients for a happy, healthy relationship. I believe there are 3 basic ingredients needed in a committed relationship for it to be happy, healthy and successful. Rather like a recipe for a cake. If you have the right ingredients in the right proportions, the result will be something you'll be satisfied with and really enjoy. However, if you miss out one of the ingredients, or you don't have them in the right proportion, you don't take the time and give it care and attention, the result isn't going to be great, and it may even be a disaster. And so it is with relationships. So let's look at the ingredients for a happy relationship. There really isn't any magic. They're pretty basic things. You just need to understand what each part consists of. So, in no particular order, as each part is equally important, let's start. Commitment. Commitment means more than being faithful to the exclusion of others in a romantic and intimate way. It's also about being committed and willing to put in the effort and intention to make your relationship work, even when the going gets tough. It means you and your partner being truly invested in the relationship, working as a team through those inevitable tough times as well as the happy times. It's about trusting each other to be honest and faithful, as well as feeling safe and secure enough to put your trust in each other. Once you feel that sense of security, you'll feel more comfortable in enabling yourself to be vulnerable, knowing that you've got each other's back at all times. Of course, it's not easy all the time, especially at those times when you don't agree on things. But that's about being respectful and accepting of each other and your beliefs, thoughts and feelings. Of course, you're not going to agree on everything. You're 2 very different people from different backgrounds, with different views of the world, different experiences. So you can't agree on everything, and you're not going to see things in exactly the same way. But it's important to understand that and accept it too. Because once you have those expectations that you will both see things the same way and that your partner will understand everything, it's going to make life pretty tough. So once you accept you're not going to agree on everything and that you have got differences, it's understanding that deep down at the core of the relationship, you are committed to each other. Let's move on to the next ingredient. This one's about caring. And we all show that we care in different ways. Like I said, we all see the world in different ways. We all view it differently. We all have different views. We have different experiences. So for some people, showing that they care means using words to demonstrate that they care for somebody else. And for others, it's more about the way they behave, their gestures, and kind acts. Both are really important because they do convey kindness, affection, generosity, loyalty, self-sacrifice, understanding, empathy, all of those things. When I'm working with couples, I often hear one person complaining their partner doesn't show them love and affection in the way they want and need. Perhaps they need to hear those words, I love you. And when they complain to their partner that they haven't heard those words, the other one often responds with saying that, well, I do it by doing things for you. And that's where how they show their love and affection. The problem is with couples like this is not only do they not understand each other and the way they function, but they also haven't communicated their needs to each other. So it's important to be able to say that you know what you need. You have to ask for what you need in this world, otherwise you're not going to get it. But those words and actions combined make all the difference. Showing your love and care with actions and gestures and those words, they can be small gestures. It doesn't have to be grand gestures at all. But giving support and encouragement as well, they all demonstrate care and love for each other. And demonstrating it on a daily basis with that thoughtfulness, they're so vital. We all need that reassurance and that investment, knowing that we are there for each other. Friendship is a major factor in any relationship, but most romantic relationships need more than that. They need intimacy and sex to make them special, and that closeness that you can't have in other relationships, those other friendships that you have, those other connections. But you can't build on just sex alone. That kind of connection is far too shallow, as well as being unsustainable. So you really need more than a relationship that's built on just sex. They just don't tend to last because you haven't got the other ingredients that are so vital. But I would say that this special connection that you have doesn't mean you have to share every part of your life with each other. Everybody needs time and space to themselves, as well as time with other friends in your life as well. I think that's so important. If you're with each other constantly, it can be so claustrophobic, bringing nothing new to the relationship. You just are, there's nothing else to bring to it, is there? You're just sharing the same experiences and the same things. You're doing everything together, and it isn't really very healthy. Caring for each other means mutually supporting each other in times of trouble, as well as supporting and encouraging each other's personal growth, career advancement, and hobbies. There's nothing nicer than having someone there to cheer you on, encourage you when you're trying something new, or there's something that you are exploring, or a new job, or feels good to have someone who believes in you, and certainly it improves confidence knowing that person's there. And let's not forget the fun side. Life can become extremely serious at times. When weighed down with responsibilities, it can be easily forgotten to have fun together. So that's a part of the caring for each other as well, ensuring that you have fun times together too. Another very last ingredient, although I wouldn't say that these are all the ingredients, but these are 3 vital ones, I believe. Communication. And you're probably going to say, well, of course I talk to my partner. But I'd ask you, at what level? Do you really talk about the deeper things, your thoughts and your feelings? Or is your conversation on a superficial level, only focusing on daily issues that crop up in life? You know, that mundane, everyday stuff that we could get caught up in. Have you done the shopping? What should we have for dinner? What have the kids done? It's those kinds of things. Of course we want to talk about them, but if you never connect on a deeper level, then you're never going to get that deep and meaningful intimacy that is so special. Do you talk to each other about your dreams and aspirations? Are you able to do that without feeling judged or put down? And can you tell each other truthfully how you're feeling when things aren't going so well, without being judged, without being put down? Are you able to hear your partner's true feelings without it turning into a row? That happens so often when I see people. It just seems to escalate because people take things personally. They feel like it's a personal attack on themselves. But if you're able to do that, it allows you to find ways of resolving problems together instead of feeling it like it's a battleground. Good communication is also about being interested in what the other thinks and feels, not being dismissive if you don't get how the other one is feeling things, or even if you don't agree with their beliefs. I think that's really important too, isn't it? Actually being allowed to say what you're feeling, what you're thinking in a safe place. Being respectful and accepting that we each function in different ways. We can't and don't view the world. Like I keep saying, I know, but it's so vital to understand this, that we don't understand. We can't understand each other completely. But if you can actually step into somebody else's world and try just to be there and understand a little, that is so special. And it will create a much deeper bond. Communication is also about listening to each other's concerns. If there are problems in the relationship, not being dismissed with somebody saying, oh, don't bother me, or it's not a problem, oh, just get over it. That's so dismissive. It's really listening to somebody and really understanding what their concerns are. Listening to each other's concerns without being dismissive and trying to understand each other's feelings is really key. You don't have to agree with your partner, but accepting their point of view and that they do have a point of view, that really builds trust and respect. As well as accepting each other as individuals in your own right, it also allows each of you to grow, which is vital. Otherwise become stunted emotionally and physically, because if we don't allow that growth, we can get really stuck and in a rut, and that can lead to lots of problems then. And it will affect the relationship too, because if you're not allowing your partner to grow, they may feel so stunted that they've got nowhere to go, and it can be that they get bored and then feel they don't want to be in the relationship anymore. I guess lots of people tell me that they hate confrontation. They feel that it has to be something aggressive. Well, it doesn't have to be. It just is finding the right way of being able to talk to each other when there are problems. And here are a couple of tips I'm going to give you. If you've got something on your mind and you really want to talk to your partner about it, then the first thing is, don't try having the conversation when either of you or both of you are preoccupied with other things. It's no good trying to have that conversation when the children are around and you're distracted by them, you're rushing off to work, or there's something else going on. Even if your favourite TV programme is on, it's not the time to have that conversation. It will just go over the other person's head. You won't get your feelings and your thoughts out. You won't be able to tell your partner how you're feeling with them really listening to you. So choose a time when you can both sit down quietly and have that conversation. Stick to one issue. Don't bring in other things. Don't dilute it with and another thing, because your partner will get confused. They won't know what the problem is. And before you know it, you'll go off-piste and you'll start talking about something completely different. And it can so often escalate into a row because you're not going to get your point over and you're going to be left frustrated because nothing's been sorted out. And use the I statement. Start your conversation with I think, I feel. They're very powerful phrases. If you direct your concern at the other person by saying, you made me unhappy, you didn't do this, you make me angry, the other person is going to feel quite threatened. And it's a very accusative way of talking to somebody. And then the other person then is likely to become defensive. And when we feel defensive, we go on attack because we need to show that we're not in the wrong, that we haven't done anything wrong. Before you know it, you've gone into a full-blown row and nothing's been resolved, and all you've got is a very unhappy pair because nothing has been sorted out. Has anyone ever said to you, or maybe you've said it, I know what you're thinking? I know I've had it said to me, and really I get quite annoyed when somebody does that because nobody knows what I'm thinking. Nobody knows what I'm going to do next. We can't read each other's minds. It's impossible. And not only that, it's quite disrespectful. If you say that to somebody else, the chances are they're going to shut down, feeling, well, there's no point in saying anything. And they might even agree with you. Yeah, okay, whatever. And then you really don't know what's going on. Not very helpful, is it? And I do know that listening without interrupting the other person, allowing them to say everything they need to say can be quite tough. It does take a lot of practice, and we do have to bite our tongues at times, especially when emotions are running high. The other thing that happens is that when somebody starts talking, what we tend to do is, when they've started, we start thinking about how we want to respond partway through the conversation. So we can miss really vital things, and we're misunderstanding each other. We haven't allowed the other person to finish speaking. They get frustrated, and you've probably got the wrong end of the stick. So listen carefully. You might learn something different. You might learn something you didn't know, and it is much more respectful. Yeah, there are times when the other person might want to rant for a while, but they're going to blow out of steam in the end, especially if they feel that you are really listening to them. And it doesn't mean just with your ears, with your eyes and your body too. That's so important. So those are my 3 ingredients. I'm wondering what your thoughts are. I'd love to hear from you. But if you feel that any of these ingredients, commitment, caring, communication, need more work, then I'd point you towards my book, which I've written, which is, there's a chapter in there about the 3 ingredients, the 3 C's in a committed relationship. And the book is From Surviving to Thriving in a Romantic Relationship. You can find the link in the show notes, so have a look. It's available on Amazon. It might be something that you find that you want to know more about. And do email me. Again, the link is in the show notes. Any questions you might have, or if there are things you'd like me to cover in future podcasts. I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and I look forward to talking to you again on different subjects. And lastly, I'd really appreciate it if you would leave me a review. Thank you so much for listening. Bye for now.